me cater to you. Let me cater to you. Let me cater to you. I wanna let you know that I am what you do. I want me to reassure you, my life will be purposeless without you. If I want it, I'm gonna ask you.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Presidential Lily, your favorite Lily, and we are back with another video. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to do a frontal sew-in from start to finish. I've already braided her down, so this is where we are starting at, from a perfect, nice, and neat braid down. Now I'll be taking my Royal Hair Collection wig caps in the color nude and begin to apply that to my client's head. Before applying the cap, I'm going to go ahead and clean her skin off lightly and really quickly with a little bit of alcohol. Now that you have the cap on, you want to pull it down as tight as you can and begin to cut out slits for the ears so the cap can lay flush to the skin by the ears. Now that you have the ears cut out, we're going to begin to do our ball cap method. Today I'm doing my ball cap method with the wig glue. So I'm just taking the wig glue and lining her hairline very tightly, and then I'll be moving on from there. And you should have something that looks a little like this. While letting the glue dry, I'm going to go ahead and begin to sew down the cap just where we need it to be. You just need it right underneath the frontal, so I'm going to go ahead and sew that down and cut off the excess cap. Once I've done all that, I'm going to begin to apply the makeup to the cap so that it looks very skin-like, it looks nude. This is the whole point of a ball cap. You can use a foundation that is the same exact skin tone or 2 shades darker than your client's skin tone for the ball cap method to get a perfect flush look. Going back in with some 91% alcohol to clean off that surface because we just applied a lot of makeup there. I use a cream-based foundation, so it tends to be a little oily, so I want to make sure that I take my time and really clean off her skin right there. This step is very important. You want to make sure that you use a skin protectant after you clean the skin, just to make sure that your client doesn't have any problems with the glue or anything like that. This will help protect the skin from any irritations. Now what I'm doing is taking the frontal and I'm having my client assist me with holding the frontal down in place. I'm placing the frontal exactly where I would like it to sit above the cap, or where my line of where my ball cap starts. So you want to place it right above that where you would want it to sit. And I'm going to go ahead and have my client keep holding that down while I go ahead and sew the back of the frontal down to secure it. Now that we have the back of the frontal sewn down, we're going to begin with our layers of glue. Today I'm using my Bold Hold active glue, and I'll be doing 4 layers. I'm working side by side with the glue so that when I begin to lay the frontal, I can work from side to side, and it gives me time to work on one side before I lay the other. Give a thumbs up, give a thumbs up, hey, give a thumbs up, give a thumbs up. If you are this far into the video, please go ahead and give that thumbs up a slap, and go ahead and press subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. So now that it's time to lay the lace, as you guys can see, one side is still drying and the other is completely clear. So the side that is completely clear, I'm going to have my client hold down the lace for me while I take my time and use my rat tail comb to press the lace into the glue, making sure that it's completely melted and secure. This far into the process, I like to take my foaming mousse. This is a Lottie Body foaming mousse. I take it and apply it to the edges where I have applied the glue. And I like to take a silk wrap and tie that down. And today I'll be taking my Royal Hair Collection elastic band, edge elastic band, to also secure the lace, just to make sure that it's extra tight and flat. Even though I didn't get this part on camera, I do think it is a must to allow your client, especially when you are adhering the lace, to sit under a dryer for at least 15 minutes so that it can really melt into the glue and you have like a really nice skin-like finish. So yeah, I just took my comb and began to like comb out the edges because they're like hardened up a little bit, so I like to soften them up. And then I'm going to go ahead and start working on my ear tabs. When I do the first initial layers of glue, I'm applying them how far I want the lace to be glued down. So then when I start to cut the lace, I just cut off all the lace that I don't want. It allows me to make a natural hairline and a jagged edge as well. And then whatever is lifted up that I want to glue down, I just take my time and apply the same amount of layers of glue, or at least 2 layers of glue. And I just go ahead and lay those down, and everything is melted because it will be tied down again once I do the baby hairs. So now that I'm beginning to cut, I'm making sure that I just move my hand a lot and do jagged edges. As you guys can see, I'm like pulling, and see I'm pulling some up. And this is where I take my time and just choose how much I want to cut off. If I want to leave like a little tab, because it'll make this part right here look a little more natural or something like that. This is where I do it. This is what I mean by I gave myself a little bit of space to create a natural hairline. You want the lace to be as close to your client's hairline, and as well as jagged as possible, going in that hairline shape so that it can look natural. The lace can look like it's actually growing from the scalp. You cannot detect it. You do not want a straight line. So this is what I'm doing right here. I'm taking my tweezers and just plucking off the very edge of that so that we have a lace sitting right there and not just like hair. I feel like that makes it look more wiggy than natural. And I'm going to continue doing this until I'm completely finished, gluing down the little pieces that I want, cutting off any little pieces that I don't want, and all that good stuff until everything is nice and melted down. Okay, so I have the frontal tied down really nice and tight with a silk wrap and my elastic band, and I'm just going to begin sewing. You want to sew, when you're sewing a frontal sewing, you're sewing from ear to ear so that you can get that horseshoe shape that you are trying to achieve, or that you want to achieve, for this to lay flat and flush. So I'm just taking my time and sewing upward, and here in a second I will slow down for you guys to just show you how I'm actually sewing onto the track. So right about here, I'm just showing you, so this braid right here, I'm going to continue to sew in this first track that's going towards the frontal. I'm going to make sure that I try to sew the track underneath the braid, or on the bottom side of the braid, so that the top half of the braid is still exposed, so when I do fold the track, I can sew back on it. So I'm right there at the edge. I'm going to go ahead and tie this right here and knot it. Okay. And I'm going to fold it. And I'm just going to use the top of that braid to begin sewing backwards. or back in the direction that I was going in. As you guys can see, I'm going to show you right here. You see that braid is exposed, so I'm just going to use that to go ahead and sew back until I get to those more defined braids that are going straight backwards. So that's how, you know, you're able to use one braid for 2 tracks, if that makes any sense. But I just keep going in this pattern. If you guys need to slow down, pause, or rewind, please feel free to do so. Now, once you get to about right here in your sewing process, you want to start to change the direction of your tracks. As you guys can see, I'm laying it kind of going in like a C curve motion. And that's how I'm going to begin to sew the tracks, going back and forth in that C shape so that it will lay flat. You can either cut the tracks right here, like sew down each track, or you can fold it. Me personally, I always fold the tracks. I always know how to fold them to where they look nice and very flat and flush. Doesn't look like it's a fold right there. But whatever you feel best doing, please do so. But you just want to keep going in the C motion all the way up until you close off this, close off or finish sewing, or pretty much until you reach the frontal. And once you finish sewing, this is what it should look like. You shouldn't see any tracks underneath. It should be very flat, nice, very nice and neat, y'all. Like, OMG, look how good this looks. It looks so flat. It looks very natural. And this is what you want your sewings to look like every single time. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and style her off camera and come back. And here is the finished look. We got her a bust down middle part, bone straight, jet black, gives every single time. If you guys like this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe if you go this far in the video and haven't subscribed already. What are you doing? Thank you to all my returning subscribers, and I hope you guys have a great and blessed day, blessed night, just whatever you guys, you know, just make sure that you guys stay blessed, okay?
We cater to you.